Hi, I'm Asia, and welcome back to the Strange Days Diaries, and good freaking morning. It's gonna be a bit of a roaster today, very hot. So I woke up early to film this video because otherwise I know I would not want to film it later in the day. So apologies for not the brightest lighting. It is currently 7 a.m. There is a specific topic and a specific question that I get asked more than anything. Probably top 3 questions I get asked is, how the hell do you afford van life? How is it freaking possible that I just drive off into the sunset, sleep wherever I want, live my life, go frolic in the freaking forest, and seemingly live without any care in the world? How? The thing is, van life is actually not as expensive as most people think, and it's also a lot cheaper than you might think. So let's talk about it. If I'm a bit loopy or weird, I'm still waking up, so apologies ahead of time. The coffee is definitely helping though. Whew, let's get into it. So for me personally, I have 3 main sources of income, really 2 main sources, because the third is kind of up and running and up and coming, I guess I should say. So first source of income is YouTube, good old YouTube AdSense, and that's how I make my main kind of source of income, although it is unfortunately not yet quite enough to make a full-blown living off of. So that is why I also still have an in-person job in San Francisco and the Bay Area in general in California, but that job is super flexible, which allows me the time to travel. And I know you guys are always super curious what my job in SF is, but for just personal and safety reasons, I'm not sharing what that is yet. But someday when I quit that job, I will definitely share with you what that job is. And my third source of income is I am a multimedia artist, but I kind of wait and build an inventory of things to sell while on the road, either in person or online, before I launch the items for sale. So I'm currently working on an inventory of stuff to sell, which is why it's not really making any income yet, but hopefully that'll be launching at least the new drop in November. So let's get into expenses a little bit. Van life is not expensive for me personally, but I know it can be kind of expensive for some people, as much or more expensive sometimes than just living a traditional life, renting or owning a home. But for me, it's not very expensive because I don't pay rent. I don't even have a storage unit rental space that I'm renting. I don't have a car payment, which helps a lot. I own this good old girl outright, paid for her in cash back in the day. Speaking of the van, I also take the best care of her as possible. It is a 1990 van, so she's 30 years old. And so with that comes, original pieces and elements and things in the van that ultimately break because I do drive her a lot. But I'm thankful that I have an amazing mechanic out in San Francisco that helps me a lot, and he's also available via phone call anytime. And my dad's also a mechanic, and my brother. So I have a really amazing team around me. Even if we're not physically together all the time, I can just give them a ring and they'll help me out. And they've taught me how to work on the girl as well. And really the only expense for the van, which I'll get into my actual expenses in this later in this video, is regular oil changes and gas and just maintenance like vacuuming and cleaning and washing. One of the ways I keep my expenses very, very low is I travel slowly when I have a low income month, because traveling slowly equals less gas I'm paying to put into my gas tank. And then also I mostly cook for myself. I grocery shop roughly once a week, and it's pretty rare and it's like a little treat if I go out and treat myself to a meal. Typically I'm cooking here in the van, which also saves a lot of money. So let's get into my actual expenses. I have some notes here, so I'll just list them off. I have Spotify, my Planet Fitness membership, car insurance, my phone bill, Squarespace for my website, and Adobe. Those are literally it. Those are all my monthly expenses. I keep them very, very low and they don't add up to much, thankfully. But being a traveling artist and working, you know, every now and then in SF, and then also just with the way AdSense is on YouTube, I'm glad I don't have many expenses, that's for sure. So let's get into the other ways I've seen people, heard of people, and met people on the road and how they make money while living this lifestyle. A really popular way folks on the road make money that I'm sure you've heard of is working seasonal jobs. And that's actually something I'm kind of curious about dabbling into, specifically next year. I'm considering it. Some examples of seasonal jobs include working the beet harvest, national park jobs, camp hosting. I have lots of friends that do camp hosting and love it. Being a ski instructor or a lift operator in the wintertime, and there really are so many others. You just have to do a quick Google search and you can really tailor it to what you are personally interested in, whether that's outdoor activities or indoor, etc. Another popular way folks like to make money is doing gig work while they're in cities. Typically, this gig work thing is really only available in very urban environments, such as driving for Uber Eats or just Uber in general, or being a Lyft driver, working for TaskRabbit, Instacart, and also working at festivals is a really popular one. I've met a lot of really cool people who literally live their whole year and their whole life just traveling from festival to festival and working them. Some of them, they volunteer. Some of them, they just work in exchange for pay. Totally depends on what you're looking for. Another big one is if you are a working full-time professional that can be moved remote, then I have met a lot of working professionals on the road, and those professions range widely. But keep in mind, if you are a working professional who can move into a more remote position so that it allows you to travel full time, keep in mind you're going to have a really beefy power setup and solar setup to charge and run whatever you need for that job, whether it be, you know, your laptop or a computer or multiple monitors. Plus, if you have Starlink or need Starlink for Wi-Fi, the Starlink units, at least now, they're a pretty big power draw, so keep that in mind too. But I have met a lot of working professionals on the road too. Another popular profession in this nomadic lifestyle is being a travel nurse. I don't know much about that personally, but I have met a few and they seem to really like it, and they love dropping into different communities and working for those communities when needed. Again, I don't really know where or like how it works, but hey, that's another profession I've seen on the road. Ugh, I'm running out of coffee. I gotta make some more. When it comes to finances on the road, I'm going on 5 years living this lifestyle, and I've had to learn how to be comfortable, and I mean very comfortable, with having very little money, and also being comfortable with being very frugal. Not to mention forcing myself to be comfortable with like an extreme fluctuation in my income every single month. But because my expenses are so low, it tends to not be like the biggest problem. I know I talk about being broke all the time because I really am, but I'd rather be broke and travel than hustle and work a job and live a more traditional life, renting and just staying in one place and maybe traveling once or twice a year. I did that for a very long time, and ultimately I didn't like how little I was traveling, so that's why I dove into this lifestyle. So I hope this video helped you out a little bit, at least, on kind of getting an idea of how I afford to live this lifestyle and how other people tend to afford it. It's an amazing lifestyle. I recommend it to everyone. You learn a lot about yourself and about other people by doing it. Like I said, this is one of the most asked questions I get. Probably one of the top 3 questions is, how do you afford it? What do you do for work? So I hope this video explained a little bit for you guys. If you have any questions or other suggestions or just ideas about how people can make money on the road, definitely leave it in the comments below. But thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the road. Peace.